Hi everyone, I'm going to show you how to use the in-out model web app. Now, this is part of the paid subscription package that you get when you sign up, and let me show you what it looks like. And I'm going to go into my web browser, and I have set up a link on my web browser for Packed Resources Online to make it easy to get there. So I'm going to click on that, and that takes me into the familiar front screen of all the web apps, the Packed Resources Online program. And I will log in by clicking up here on the right-hand corner. And it remembers my account name and my password. So I just say log in and take me to my apps. And I know many of you will be familiar with that now. There are the cards. There are the two free apps. And here is the in-out model. So I'm going to click on that. And then we just wait a few moments until the word start appears. And we're in. Now you're seeing here a circle divided into 4. And this is what we call the circle of belonging. This app is based on the work of Eric Berne and transactional analysis. And we're going to be using the language of the parent, the adult, and the child. I know many of you understand this. These are what Eric Berne called ego states. I call them selves. So I have a parent self, an adult self, and a child self. The parent self largely comes from my relationship with my actual parents and the kind of things they said to us, but other parent figures in my life. And we're going to see how that can kind of be a voice in our head. And also the child voice can be very strong within us as well. And we've created this pictorially for you to work with your clients as a form of psychoeducation. Let me take you through it to explain how it works. We have here back and next, and these are arrows which in this app you click to move forward or move backwards. So when I click on next to get it going, the first figure to come up is the nurturing parent, the warm, nurturing, consistent, compassionate, understanding, hopefully a real parent in real life or people who demonstrated that to you. And this is the voice that we carry in our heads if that has been a strong voice in our childhoods, and that is the nurturing parent. The structuring parent is the next one. If I click on next, we've slightly changed the language of TA there, which I'll explain in a moment, as many other companies have done. The structuring parent, as well as nurture, we need guidelines for living. And this is things like boundaries, kind discipline that makes sense to us, and the ability of the parent voice inside our heads to guide us and to help us be safe in the world, also consider other people. And the nurturing parent also enables us to forgive ourselves. And it's the combination of those two that create a safe place for us. And this is the basis of secure attachment and good mental health. Those are two of the parent aspects. So let's look at the child aspects. We have, as a result of those two parent voices, we have a socially adapted child self. And this is where we learnt as little ones what the guidelines were and how to be pleasant company, how to be empathic, how to be safe in the world, and also to consider others, and be gently introduced into the way the world works in the most healthy way. The final one is also another child part, and that's the free child. And this is the language of TA at its original description. We're free to be ourselves, to live with a kind of abandon because we know we're loved, because we know we're safe, because we know we're held, and also because we belong. We know that we are in. And that's such an important word. I'm going to explain the little arrows later on. But basically, this is the 4 positions that compose the secure circle of belonging. And this is where you can take your clients through. Did you have this? Was this what it was like for you? And obviously, for many people who come for therapy, it wasn't like that. So we're going to continue looking at other characters in this model. Clicking on next again. The first next take the words out, and the second time brings up the critical parent. And this is the voice that is negative. The inner critic that we have got still many years later inside our heads comes from critical parenting, actually in our homes, in our childhood home, and perhaps an unpleasable father or mother or key figure in our lives. And they have had such a huge impact on our thinking about ourselves that we always get it wrong, or we can't really do life, or we're in trouble again. If I click next, this produces in us a desire to be good, to try and please that critical parent voice. And we've called this the adapted conforming child, where we have to shape our behavior to try and please, to try and get some praise or acceptance or love. And life is hard because we live under the shadow of this critical parent. Actually, if I press next again, you'll see the hurt child is there as well. And that hurt child is very often the adult is carrying that part of themselves with them when they come for therapy. I know I have a hurt child. I have an adapted conforming child, a good girl. And I have critical parent voices in my head as well. And I don't think I'm unusual in that respect. I have other voices that belong in the circle of belonging. I do have nurturing parent voices and structuring parent, but without doubt, I have these on the left-hand side as well. So what about the right-hand side? We're looking at extremes on the left. What do extremes on the right look like? Too much nurturing parent can produce a spoiling or a suffocating parent, where we feel that we are lacking structure, lacking healthy guidelines and healthy discipline and boundaries, and we can get away with anything. And this does not produce a healthy child. It actually can produce a rebel child, a difficult child, and they are also out of the circle. The safety is not there to handle life and build secure relationships and relationships that last, and where we can be intimate and we can be secure with other people. And looking at all those people who seem to be in the circle and we feel out is actually really painful. We want to be in, but we feel out. Well, there you have the characters. And so the in and the out model is there. We also need to factor in that sometimes you had inconsistent parenting, and we can explore with the clients how sometimes they had the critical parent and sometimes it was a spoiling or suffocating parent, even in the same person. And that swing from left to right can be very hard to handle when you're growing up. We're never quite sure who's going to be there to meet us when we come home from school. Is it going to be a parent in a bad mood, grumpy, shouting at us, upsetting us? Or is it going to be an overindulgent parent with presents and cakes and nice things? And just trying to guess what you're going to get, to try and meet whatever comes, be hypervigilant, be on the scanning, looking out all the time. And this rebel child as well, and the hurt child over here, we have a swing across the bottom from rebellion to hurt and shame to anger, and we swing from left to right. Envious of the people in the circle of belonging, don't know how you get in there, don't know what you have to do to belong. And this can create all the kind of things that people bring into the therapy room. And if you simply ask them, where are you? Where are you in the picture? Which picture represents you? Many clients will go down to this left-hand corner. So when I click next again, the words all disappear and we're just left with the figures. Now, this is where the app becomes very interesting, because now you're exploring with the client what their childhood was like. And very often, we're going to go to the double-headed arrows here. Very often, there was a very big critical parent who dominated. And that voice is very loud in our heads now. And this good girl or good boy, whichever, has had to become big as well. Just move her over. And just trying desperately to please. And here we have a hurt child in the corner. Maybe she's the biggest of all, and she is actually dominating the whole thing. I'm going to make them smaller again. And you can move them around and enlarge the size as you go through. And, you know, if the critical parent is very large, you could even, if you click your right mouse button, you have a menu where I could bring them to the front and obliterate everything, and that's the loudest voice you hear. Get the idea? So that you can move them to the front just by clicking the right mouse button, and she can then hide the hurt child. It's dangerous to let people know you're upset. Don't cry, don't make a fuss, be good. So that you can play with the figures and move them around, move them into position, and get a sense of what the childhood was like. Equally, it may be that the rebel child was very big and the angry self, and is still inside you, really angry. Why can't I be in here? How do I get in? Nobody lets me in. And I'm angry and I want to be in. But actually, I never let anyone see that's what I'm feeling like, because that would be much too dangerous. And very often, the hurt child and the rebel child are here desperately wanting to get in, but to express their emotions and their feelings openly can feel very dangerous. And so they hide, but the feelings are huge. Okay, get the idea? So you can play with them, move them around. This is something obviously you can't do with the paper version. Another thing you can do, of course, is to enlarge the size of the nurturing parent. Maybe there was a really big nurturing parent. So the figures inside the circle can be made big or small as well. So perhaps you had a little bit of nurture. It was still good enough. And so on. You can change the sizes in the circle as well. Well, when you finally arrived at what feels like the reality for your client, you can take a snap, and that downloads a picture into your downloads folder on your computer that you can save. What you might like to do when you reach the stage of changing the size of the characters is let the client take control of the screen, and they can be the ones that make the characters bigger or smaller. Now, if we come out of full screen, you've got your pictures, the client's gone home, and you've got another client coming that you want to use this app with. What you have to do actually is you have to refresh the app using this little whirly button here. I'm going to refresh the in-out model, and it will take you back to the beginning. Otherwise, if you leave it as it is, when your client or next client arrives, they'll see what the previous client did. So you find when you refresh it, you're back to the beginning. So I hope you enjoy using it. If you have any questions or concerns, use the contact form on any of our websites, and that will reach me. And I can ask Jeremy if I don't know the answer. Enjoy, and let us know how you get on with it.